Hello, friends, and welcome back to Let's Dig Into That, where we embrace the struggle of being intentionally human. Join us as we volunteer our vulnerability in pursuit of growth and lasting change. And of course, you chimed in a little bit already.
Wee bit.
The voice you've already heard. She can rap the whole Left Eye verse from Chasing Waterfalls.
Yes.
And you know I'm picking up the phone anytime she calls. It's Jordan, everybody!
Nailed it. That's me. That should be my ringtone. That should be Don't Go Chasing
Just the Left Eye
Waterfalls.
verse?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Just
Seen
don't
a
light
rainbow
all my Jordans on fire in the tub. Pretty sure that's what she did to Andre Rison back in the day.
You know what? It's a statement. It was a statement move.
Yeah.
Hailing from Boulder, Colorado, clocking in at 6 feet 4 inches and a roster weight of his choosing. It is the lifted and gifted deep feeler representing the underdogs, the Rudies of the bunch, the hustlers waiting for lunch.
Who called their dad Rudy? He tries so hard.
It was a friend in college. Yes. He's
so
like, see you,
brutal.
Rudy. And
That
I was
is
like, your
so-
dad's name is Rudy? That's adorable. He goes, no. He tries so hard,
tries
sucks
so
so
hard.
bad. And I was like, that's just wrong.
That's
that
rough.
was funny.
That is rough.
So we had a moment recently
Mm-hmm.
that the conversation got so rich,
Oh, wow, we're going
so
there.
dynamic that I thought, like, why not bring it to the couch? Let's love
share it
Ninja.
with the world.
Let's love. I'm uncomfortable. Seems like the right time.
Absolutely.
So, like, what can you expect when an anxious soul falls in love
That's me.
with an avoidant spirit? I'll play that role. Like, what can you expect relationship-wise when those wackadoos find each other? And the answer is spiraling, stonewalling, and potential for that lasting change and growth you talked about. So we have been...
Have you been on social media? Like, if you...
Not really.
It's such a rabbit hole. I can't even believe I'm going to tell people this.
So attachment.
But if you go attachment theory, or you put in, like, anxious avoidant dance, or you put
You are
in
not
anxious attachment style or avoidant attachment style, you will get everyone who's just been through a breakup saying, I just broke up with an avoidant, and here are the signs.
Okay.
It is brutal out on social media talking about this topic. So I'm glad we're digging into it, because there's a lot of misinformation, and I just want to learn alongside with you, because
Insert disclaimer that neither of us have a PhD
No.
or any sort of attachment. Again, theory, operative word, theory, but it's fascinating.
it is really fascinating. And I think there's a lot of value in understanding our attachment styles and how they help us and sometimes hurt us in relationships. But again, to continue on with that disclaimer, it is never appropriate to be telling someone else what their attachment style is.
I'll probably say that a few times. Like, this is not, yes, in no way will we be advocating for diagnosing your friends and loved ones with their style. Because this is, highly sensitive area if you think about it. Stepping to give a little more context. But attachment theory is based on, like, correct me, 70s, 80s was kind of the zone.
Even before that, I think like some of those early studies were 1958.
Okay, that sounds, yes. I think there was a second wave.
The Harlow study, and again, we're not going to get into that, but if you want to do more research, hit us up.
Yes.
Let's dig into that.
By all means, I'll go all day, apparently. This is fascinating. But it's basically the idea of attachment theory is how our early interactions with our caregivers, our primary caregivers, influence our ability to form these secure attachments. That's going to be the buzzword goal, is these secure attachments, and how those patterns that we make when we're itty-bitty babies can manifest in our grown-ass adult relationships.
Absolutely.
And so
Terrifying,
again,
isn't it?
You're not broken or flawed, because again, you just heard that, like, at an age before you knew what was what, the environment around you, that primary caregiver, you learned to behave in a way that you did your best to get what you needed to ensure safety, to have that consistency. And so it's not your fault.
Exactly. And when you start out as a baby and you're before consciousness, you know what I mean? Like, you are before words.
Anxious
like,
in utero.
You
over here.
still have the ability to express your needs. Babies cry when they need something. You know what I mean? And this all develops into something. How were you cared for? Were you allowed to explore? Did you feel comfortable enough to leave your primary caregiver, explore a little bit, and have the security that you know they'd come back, or
Right.
that you could come back to them? That's what this is all about. And I think it's truly terrifying to think about the patterns that we were raised with
Tear and
are
stripe.
truly something that we have to work our freaking tails off.
That's where it is. Like,
to
this is why I'm
really-
intrigued, because information at this juncture is like, I want to know better for me so I can deliver. I want the secure relationship pattern.
Yes.
I want to fall, like, that is the goal. And I'm not saying that I don't have some of those, but I do think that we can't use it as a blame game for.
Right.
Yeah, that like, oh, sorry, I'm anxious. Is that one? I'm disorganized because in my youth, this is what happened. Where I think that I want to take that agency and power back to be like, all right, this is the way I play best with others.
Exactly correct. I mean, the first time that I ever dove into any of this stuff was not even in any of my education or anything like that. It was actually during a job. They wanted to know our attachment styles.
Oh, that's right. You got
to,
interviewed.
to work with inside of a team, so we could sort of have a better understanding of how to communicate as a group. And it was really interesting. But I have been through like the actual test that will tell you about your attachment style. And it was really interesting. I came out as a secure, attached person with a lot of anxiety.
Securely attached
and
to my anxiety.
And if I was being completely honest, the way that the test works is they ask you all these questions about your childhood. Like they're like, tell me a time that you remember being comforted when you were in a stressful situation.
No pressure.
Blah, 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 blah. And so you can cater your answers a little bit. I had too much information going into the test because when I look into this and I try to identify the things that I actually feel and experience when I'm reading about attachment, I am 100% anxious. Like I have some security, like I do have some tendencies, but like, do you have a definition for anxious attachment? I think you had some bullet points at least, because can we just go through them right now and I can just kind of be like, yep.
All right, friends, the goal here is self-awareness, because that's how we move towards secure, not a joke, but moving toward it is kind of, because moving toward it is like we're saying, this information can be so great because you're like, oh shoot, that sounds, but get ready for.
Well, it could show you your tendencies even. Sure. Because one of the main things I want people to understand about this is all patterned behavior. Mm-hmm. Everything is a pattern. You do something and you get a reaction and you learn from it. And that's how our behaviors are built. Sure. And it starts really, really, really young.
Right.
And so at any time in your life, you can break patterns.
Right. In lieu of a lobotomy.
At any time in your life, it takes work, but you can break patterns.
Yes, because
Start new ones.
I feel like somebody out there listening right now is going to be like, could have told you guys this a while back. And so I apologize, and please hang in there with us if you're like, duh. But I do think that, and I think we have such an opportunity to make some cool moves in our own partnership behind the scenes that are respectful to this particular lineup. So anyone wanting to get to know JT, again, clocking in at 6'4". Number one, seeks closeness.
Oh, yeah. That's me.
Okay.
Check mark.
Craves intimacy and
Boom.
emotional connection.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about all the things. If you had a great day, let's hear about it. You had a bad day, I want to hear even more about it.
Yes. Yeah, the other day I had a very long day, very worthwhile, but busy and helping. I did some medical stuff with family, and I was kind of the good carpooler. And we were winding down, and we were saying goodnight, and it was like, it's 9:52. This man has never stopped talking. He has told me the most amazing things, but I truly could have I turned into a puddle. I think
Well, you had a busy day. I spoke to no other people. So
that's tough. Okay, so you seek closeness. We become your fear of abandonment, is that a thing?
Oh yeah. Have we talked about that? Just a smidgen?
I think it's come up.
Yeah, that's a thing.
He's hyper aware of potential threats to the relationship or my whereabouts, apparently. Over reliance on the partner. Are you do you have a reliance on me for validation, emotional regulation?
Uh-huh.
Sometimes at the expense of my needs?
Validation is one of my I require
You're so
that,
pretty.
and I'm working really hard to not. I need to be able to self-validate. I need to be able to self-regulate. And so, yeah, I am a little dependent on my partner in those categories for sure.
Because I just do it better.
Well, I do prefer it when it comes from you. Yeah, absolutely.
But me just saying, you need to self-regulate is not getting me where I want. And so the common behaviors for our anxious attachment style folks you might relate may include excessive communication, seeking constant reassurance, and becoming overly distressed when their partner is emotionally unavailable.
Check mark, check mark, check mark. I mean, right?
So
it's
here
hard
I am
it's hard
trying
to argue.
sit at the secure table, and you are just on me like white on rice, man. Like just right there.
Well, it's not. I don't want these to be seen as flaws. They are tendencies that you have. And so I like to read a room, get a feel. I like to be the caregiver. I like to make sure that everyone in the room has what they need. I like to take
We'll kick
care
off
of people.
season 4 with codependence.
But you understand where I'm
we're
coming from
calling.
is it's not all about what I need. I'm too focused on other people's needs, which is another tendency of an anxious attachment style.
Yep.
And I don't consider my own needs before others. And that puts me in a really bad spot because I don't know how I feel.
So that is exactly nail on the head. And this is by no means an epiphany we're experiencing here live. But that is where the glitch comes in our particular cycle.
What do you mean?
When that disconnect comes between how, the reorganization of the pattern. When you are in the spot of my tendency is to go toward her, how do you catch yourself in that re-regulation of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you get back into the...
I have a few techniques that have worked well for me, but like if there's something that I really wanted to talk about and it's not the time or place, or I have a feeling and I'm not certain about the feeling and I want to bring it up to have the conversation, but it's probably not worth it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is first I write myself a little note.
Okay.
Yeah, I started writing about a paragraph and I try to limit it to a paragraph and I write what I'm thinking and feeling and and then I evaluate what I just wrote and think about, is this something that needs to be said? What is the outcome that comes from this being shared? And that's been a super helpful tool because a lot of times the things that I'm thinking and feeling go away if it's not a permanent feeling. It is a in the moment reaction as opposed to an actual emotional
Something that needs to be addressed with more attention.
And so the reaction fades and so does the feeling that it brought up. And therefore, I don't need to talk about it with you because it's been resolved naturally or on my own by self-regulating. The other thing, coping strategies, anything that I can do that can kind of bring myself back down to regulation, because one of the things I can relate to most is when you are not willing to connect, which...
unwilling or unable?
Unable. I think it's time for my favorite analogy.
Oh, okay, should I talk about the avoidant
Yes,
folks?
let's go into the avoidant
so everyone
folks.
feels seen. And again, we're here to just classify you and belittle you and make you feel awful for the rest of the day. Make sure you go around telling everyone else. Not at all.
The reason
this
should
is
be
so cool.
The reason this should be interesting for our listeners is because the anxious, which I will happily, and you're going to play the role of the avoidant because you have some tendencies. But
100%
again,
I've got
not going to diagnose anyone here, but we actually have this conflict in our attachment styles and it shows up in our relationship. And so I think it's going to be really interesting for our listeners to hear how we do our very best, and it's hard to combat differing attachment styles.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's hear about the avoidant.
Okay, because I think you hit on something we definitely, the willingness and the ability.
Correct.
So here we are. We're all looking to sit at that secure table, probably, if you're taking the time to listen and hang with us, ninjas. That's probably where you're headed. But for the avoidant folks, value independence. Individuals with avoidant attachment styles prioritize independence, may feel uncomfortable with emotional closeness or vulnerability. Fear of intimacy, may suppress own emotions or have difficulty expressing needs. Withdrawal, those known to withdraw with emotional intensity, create distance, can trigger anxiety in partners, whether they're prone to or not. And common behaviors may include stonewalling, avoiding difficult combos, prioritizing self-reliance, a little bit there, and emotional connection.
Fiercely independent is how I think you were.
I have owned that. Yes, no tattoo that says as much, but that's true. And I think that you helped me to kind of see that it's interesting that I love being emotionally vulnerable as on the receiving end. I am such a great
I'll take that a
vessel.
step further. You asked me in preparation for this about your avoidant tendencies. I would never volunteer how I feel. You asked me, and you asked me a very specific
because
question.
I was like, I'm perfect.
You're like, I can get into the hard stuff. I love to talk about the deep
feel-
stuff. And the only thing I could say, and trying to be as gentle as I could, is yes, if someone comes to you with an issue they're experiencing, and it's a conflict that doesn't involve you, absolutely, you'll dig into anything. But if you're a part of the conflict,
right.
That's
or
when I
my
s-
own, that I'm going to them as a sounding board or friend in some capacity, that I am way less.
absolutely. That's when I see the white flag coming from you, and you're kind of like, I think I'm going to
Bail.
bail.
Yeah. I'm going to walk my dogs to the moon. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't write. So, yes.
But I think that's a good distinction. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this doesn't mean that you're unable to have hard conversations.
Or share intimate relationships.
Exactly.
But
it means maybe when the focus is turned on to you, maybe it gets a little more challenging. This episode of Let's Dig Into That is brought to you by...
in the wild, the avoidant partner is a majestic yet elusive creature. Quick to retreat, difficult to hug. But with Avoidant Whisperer app, you'll finally learn how to approach them in their natural habitat without startling their nervous system. Featuring soothing modules like the art of the casual check-in, why silence isn't always rejection, and I'm just processing, decoded. The Avoidant Whisper, available wherever emotionally distant partners are quietly recharging.
Not recommended for use during fights, holidays, or unexpected feelings. There's this analogy that I absolutely love, and I wish I could take credit for it, but it is something that I was taught and then have seen in other applications. But I think that it's a really good analogy for our particular struggle.
Mind blown. I really cared for it. I cared for it.
Absolutely. And so me being more of an anxious attachment style person and you leaning towards tendencies of avoidant, here's the analogy. I am like a pint glass, 16 ounces. That's what I hold.
We're all about your stats today. I like that.
You are like a shot glass.
Oh, I'm dainty.
Which holds a maximum of 2 ounces, right? So let's say I have big feelings and emotions and I'm going to share them with you. Imagine me as imagine that pint glass just dumping into a shot glass. Flooded, right? Some of that gets in, but most of it just goes around you and makes you feel overwhelmed. Makes you feel like, oh my God, I got to get the hell out of here. Right? Drowning. Exactly. You're drowning in my emotions, my needs.
I didn't say it.
My feelings.
But I have.
But that's the analogy here. And now let's take that vice versa. I'm craving. Let's say my cup is empty. Now instead of being full of 16 ounces of fluid, I have drained that because the liquid inside this cup is our energy.
Oh, it's our tank.
It's our tank.
Okay.
Exactly.
I only got a little shot glass tank. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I don't want you to look at it like that.
I'm with my attachment.
It's
energy.
It's your energy allotted towards the relationship.
Yep. Got it.
Emotional connection and that kind of stuff. And so I have all my energy is gone. Whether I had a terrible day at work or I've had to care for something, my tank is empty. So I come to you looking to hopefully help me fill it. But all you have is 2 ounces. And once that 2 ounces is gone and you put that into my cup to try to help me fill up, you have nothing left to give. That's it. You've done it.
That's where my ability comes in, because that is how it feels, where our particular like little cycle is I gave you the best I got. I thought I said, the words that would be the healing. Like, I want to fix it so bad. Again, come back season 4. And so that I want to make it right. And I cannot, like the physics that you've described, my 2 ounces cannot cover what you need.
Exactly,
which is where
correct.
that self-regulation, other relationships, how you're spending your tank and what refills it. And oh damn, am I realizing how much energy I'm wasting.
Here's the other thing that's really important about this analogy, because it's got a lot to it. What I give. So let's say my cup is full and yours is empty. So I dump all 16 ounces and it floods you, right?
Mm-hmm. We're going to need a mop.
I expect the same amount back.
Right.
It is human nature that if I put forth this much, I expect this much in return.
Oh, man.
And guess what? You only have 2 ounces.
Yeah.
The most you can possibly do is fill up my cup an eighth.
Yep.
So what happens?
Your cup is not looking good. You are thirsty. You are thirsty for connection.
Exactly.
Ooh.
But I can't expect it from you. It's irresponsible for me to expect it
as
from
non-drinkers. It's irresponsible for all of this. Like, this is just playing with, but we're talking shots. Yeah, I want to like wring out my teeny tiny mop to give you, because it feels, and I get frustrated when I'm like, that's it, I'm tapped, figure it out and come home with pizza.
Right.
And that's not something that I'm willing to say. I try not to get pushed that far. But it is a good move.
Yeah.
And so, whoa.
Right?
I do think
it's a really good analogy to kind of understand it, because guess what it did for me? Here's the 2 things that it made me realize when I heard that analogy and I thought about it and applied it to our relationship is, 1, the first thing is, you're not unwilling. Mm-hmm. You want to fill my cup. You're giving me everything you got. How can I ask for more? That's really helpful information to have.
Been falling asleep thinking about it for days.
Oh my gosh, that is such amazing information to have. And then the second thing is, you can only fill my cup an eighth of the way. I have to do the rest. And that's okay with me. I have to have more connection in my life. I have to have
But
more.
we were beating our heads against the wall of, why can't we figure this out, that like hypothetically, not advocating scorekeeping, but like a tit for tat.
Yeah.
I'll play tit. That we could, why does it feel so imbalanced? And was it a power struggle? And you can look at, this has been the one that clicked, because it's like, oh, are our love languages, off, that we aren't, I'm not showing you in a way that you're even seeing. But what's true is I'm spitting on a forest fire because I only got 2 ounces.
Right. And I'm sitting here like, have you seen all the things I've done? Mm-hmm. And I just want you to reciprocate. And you're like, I have, as best as I can. And then you're like, well, why did you bring up all this stuff that you did? I didn't want you to do any of it.
Yep.
You flooded me with all that crap because you wanted it in return. Mm-hmm. And I've already given you everything I can give you.
Yeah. Tricky conundrum you can find yourself in relationally.
Exactly.
And I think what's so cool is we never even pause to consider, like, oh, my little shot glasses just go with my shot glass. Similar twisted upbringings that we all share, that we didn't even entertain for a moment the idea that either of us that this is an impossibility.
Right.
You took full immediate ownership of, oh shit, I got to figure out how to get this hydration that I'm needing. And so
the less that I demand you to do something that you're incapable of doing, the more that you will actually start to build patterns. Because ideally, we want to both.
And again, these demands aren't coming out demanding, but it is where you almost can feel the like, hold me. Like, this is, I'm trying to, a secret handshake. I don't, almost.
Well, I think where it really shows up in our relationship is those nights where your tank is empty and I ask you the simplest of questions. And it forces you to make a decision or makes you feel cornered about, like, this is an activity I have to do for the next hour. But I'll bring up, like, something that I want to do with you.
It can be the simplest thing.
Is this the show you want to watch? And you're like, Jesus, how could you ask me that?
Can you guys even imagine? I feel like everyone can relate and the empathy will pour in. But it is true. If he's like, hey, you headed to brush your teeth. And I'm just like, if you are all up in my business for one more second today,
right,
here's my shot glass. You can have it. See if there's a drop left. And it's embarrassing. Like, I don't love that side of me, but I don't know how to be like, I tapped out on today.
But that would be okay, and it would be so much better than
Can I get a shirt that says it for me? Like, is there a
shirt,
flag?
I think a hat would be better. But
that's probably
anyway,
smart.
But you get what I'm saying about the whole idea is now that we have this understanding in our relationship, and I don't push for more than you can give, you're going to start building a new pattern with me in this relationship. Because let me remind you, any kind of trauma or issue that happens in a relationship can only be fixed in a relationship.
It's true. And what you're saying there, I struggle to remind myself of this. And I like that I respond as though it's like a scripture that struck me. But it is true that like the stuff that you don't want to address now, like if that avoidant tendency, like it will carry on to your next relationship. It will pour out into your friendships, your coworkers, like those, how you present and approach the world. And I think there's a lot to be gained from the beauty of these healthy, secure, where that reciprocation is real and you can come to each other with all the insecure, hellacious crap that life brings us anyway. And so having these conversations, this glassware, this bartending analogy that we've used has inspired me to want to enhance my friendships in a way that I am, more aware of what I'm asking and what I'm also being willing to give and show of myself.
Well, that's really well said, because it's sort of like in our last episode, we talked about conserving our energy and making sure we hold it as this sacred thing. And this is a very similar concept of like, once you understand what kind of attachment style you have, or even the tendencies of it. Because like to actually do the exam, like there's a lot to it. But if you identify with some of these things in these attachment styles, you can actually do the work. You know what I mean? Like there's an opportunity to change the patterns.
Which again could make you like having less anxiety is appealing. Me giving a vibe of, I don't want to feel that I'm withdrawn or stonewalling or that's like, absolutely not. I'm in there doing awesome stuff. I am getting the juices, I am taking care of, and I want that time to be sacred.
Right.
I think that, I want to honor and respect myself enough to...
We use a word that I love, and it's autonomy. And when you are not true to who you are, you lose your autonomy. And attachment has a lot to do with
feral.
That.
And then I become feral. Like, seriously.
But as you regain your autonomy, which... the way that happens and the way we move towards this secure attachment that we're both after is by respecting the needs and not asking each other to do what we can't. Does that make sense? And so the less I try to pull more connection out of you, the more you'll actually want to give it to me. Does that make sense?
Preach.
And to close the loop on the analogy, soon we'll both be juice glasses.
I like it a little bit. That sounds very, very appropriate serving sizes.
Yeah,
some
right?
Portion control could go a long way there.
And then the moments where your tank is empty and mine is full, we can both be half full together. You know what I mean? That's the dance that we're working towards. Of like the secure attachment is you have to have your autonomy to not be worrying about the other person all the time.
Yes.
And the less I require connection when you don't have anything in your tank, the more you're going to be willing to give me, and our glasses will be the same size.
I can just see like our house. That's perfect. I'm just like thinking of my improved reactions being like, I'm dehydrated or silence, but let's see, like moving towards that, like we did the self-awareness, but the open communication, like a silly example that comes to mind is if you are sending a lot of text and you've got this sweet little anxious lover on the other end that's not getting back in a timely way, that you're getting a little tweaked out about it, that opportunity for a convo there, like, hey, I'm going to be sure on my lunch break to let you know that like highlight of my morning, or that I've been thinking of you, or whatever, because that is, again, one of those easy cycles that you can nip, where you do have to learn the dance of how we're just going to figure it out, how you're going to get into that juice glass mode together. Because I think that,
Well, I think what you're talking about is awareness, and it will be forever for the rest of our lives together. When you tell me my tank is empty, I'll get that.
yeah.
It won't be, I'm pushing for more connection. I no longer think you're unwilling. I now understand you don't have anything left.
Right. And my goal is to take better care of my energy, because that is my power, and not put myself with the, outlier situations, emergency, whatnot, where I am holding myself to, I can bring my game.
Yes.
Because, we all know, like, once you're depleted, like, all bets are off. Your cognitive nonsense just even goes haywire.
Snacking asleep.
But I feel like it's time I get to use everybody's favorite word generationally now is the boundaries. Like, the self-awareness I'm learning is I got to tell you what's up.
That's right.
And so I
I'm not
have
a mind
to,
reader.
not a mind reader. And all you can do, I want you to come at me with your authentic self. And so if I'm not saying it with my words, my body language is eventually going to rudely deliver the message. And so
But I'm still guessing. You know what I mean? I don't know why you have the body language. I get it, but I don't know why.
And then
so
he wants to figure it out, and I'm exhausted.
Exactly.
So it's just
you got to use your words.
So yes, I think the boundaries, and then the trust. You have to have the capability or the self-validation of, I know she got this. I know she's got me. We're in this together. You still get a team vibe when we aren't touching.
Right.
That you can know I got your back, even though I'm not in your 6-foot sights.
Absolutely. And I need to have another outlet. I need to have somewhere where I can take these feelings and emotions and have a space to vent. And that's
on
not...
Ted Lasso, didn't Roy join like a ladies' book club?
Yes.
I think that's exactly what you need.
A book club's not a bad idea, actually.
Nope.
That's not I like where your head's at.
But if you remain a bit curious and you want to understand, because this was fun to talk about with you in, like this was lakeside and, enjoying a little sunset time, and it fascinated me. And so, but if remaining curious about it, curious about yourself, and not like, how can others conform to what I've decided, or even if a professional has given you that, I think it's just such a cool opportunity to make every interaction a bit more rewarding, a little more fulfilling and valuable there. But
Well, I think we've been doing a good job preaching it this season. And
I don't want to be preachy.
Yeah,
But
you're
you're
right.
right.
I'm not trying to preach anything, but
We're like a pep rally stomp group. Don't you think?
I would love to stop. I keep clapping.
I know. I dig it. You get me a drum line. We can
But
go.
what we've been doing a lot of talking about how we expend our energy, where it goes, who's taking it from us, how do we fill our cup, what drains us. And I think that there's a lot that goes into our attachment styles that helps us understand how to control, gives us a little bit more of a gauge on when and how we expend our energy.
Right, exactly.
Does that make
That's
sense?
where I'm saying my awareness, where I'm like, I'm bummed that it's not like, oh, Jordan's got her, I want to be charged up. I caffeinate myself enough too that I should be not, because you don't have to be on all the time. I even want to get better at relaxing with intention and things like that.
Yeah.
But I want to be intentional in my relationship and not reactionary.
Correct.
Because the minute you come with me and I'm like, oh, this is going to go long, I'm just like instantly like, nope. And that's what I want to break, is where I say, guess what? Not right now, but I give all the hoots about what you're going to say. Can you give me 1 hour?
And that's the biggest thing, in my opinion, in our dynamic.
And neither of our heart surgeons. Our days are not this like, oh my God, who's tired of being on a journey?
Yeah, but I don't want to speak to everyone, so I'm just going to use our dynamic. But I'm exhausted when I am trying to constantly pull connection from you. Yeah. When I'm feeling disconnected, it's exhausting for me too. I'm not protecting and valuing my own energy in that sense either. I'm just flooding you with it, and it's going nowhere productive. You know what I mean? So
and it's good energy, and I think I can see it. And that's the other thing too, is if you like I hope to make changes, but we still have to broach the exciting part. Like I want to notice it. I want to notice the good of like, dang, that used to be so my move, and now it is awesome that I don't,
Didn't even cross my mind.
didn't cross my mind to instantly put his needs, like our dogs announce your arrival at home. If I took the time to, on certain days, if I'm like, finish this thought, and there's some days where I'm like, gotta run to his arms, but I know for my anxiously attached man, 99% of the time, I drop everything like a fire drill and I fly to you because I feel I have classified that as important to you.
Right.
And who doesn't want to be greeted with, a joy train?
But there's so many other ways where you could accomplish your goal without completely forfeiting
right.
whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We could have that moment when you're out of the flow state that you're in.
Yeah, that doesn't
finished
feel...
with the paragraph that you're writing. You know what I mean?
Right. So there's an opportunity here
Namen?
for lasting change. Non-meme?
Namen?
What do you think of that?
Namen? What do you think of that?
And now it's time for Yeditations, the thoughts in our brains keeping us from meditating.
Less is more. The beginning of the end. I know nothing. No one goes to that restaurant. It's way too crowded. The more I fail, the more likely it is that I'll succeed. I must be cruel to be kind. The child is the father of man. Huh.
This has been Yeditations.
So I'm very interested in this building. That's what building the trust.
Yes.
And having the faith and confidence. So what kind of language do you suggest here on the podcast that I approach you with to say like my tank is empty, or yes, but not now? Because I feel like I've tiptoed, but I have not successfully landed that one.
Great question. And I really do like my tank is empty.
Okay.
Because it helps me
My
understand.
little baby shot glass.
It helps me understand what's going on with you, and that's what I really am craving. I want to know what's going on in there.
Because it's not I don't have time for you, it's I don't have energy to be there for you in the way you deserve.
Exactly, and that will go over well, I promise. And it's a great question because trust is important in this. If you're trying to work towards a secure attachment, there needs to be a lot of trust. And it's not your typical like, oh, he's going to go out and I trust that he's not going to do anything to hurt
I
me.
trust that I open my mouth and you're going to not like it.
Right. That's what you trust right now.
That's what I trust right now is you're going to go, all day I've been waiting for this moment and we're doing this.
And I want to break that pattern. I want you to come to me with how you feel, and I want to react appropriately so we stay in a wonderful, regulated state.
Doesn't that sound sweet?
And that's how we'll build trust throughout time is you'll come to me, you'll tell me how you actually feel. I will respond appropriately, and we will have started to build a new pattern.
This episode brought to you by lithium. No, but I do appreciate I'm very lucky to have a partner that gives a hoot. This is hard and fun because I absolutely think there's stuff from some other relationship from both of us that is all mussed up in here. And so, but this is not how I want to choose to spend all my time. But man, is it fun to have like that little sliver of clarity. Like making sense to myself is so gratifying when I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm not a werewolf. That's nice. I am actually justified. But reading the anxious, just the symptoms of your...
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there was a cute profile pic of you from back in the day right beside it. It was just adorable.
So those are the kind of things that I want to do to work towards that secure attachment style. How else do we build towards a secure attachment style?
I do think that like you hit the nail on the head, or I've said that twice now, and there's so much construction going on apparently. It's been hammering all day.
More of a drill guy.
Yeah, exactly. Zip, zip. And so the self-regulation, you taking ownership of like, oh shoot, I got some space in this glass.
That's right.
That I need to fill, I think is huge. And that's for all of us too. Because even on the avoidant, like how you are, what is your participation in the want of that type of pattern and behavior, or how you're spending that time? Are you avoiding the hard conversation, or all of the feelings inside. Are you willing to, what
Right.
is so
A secure, attached person doesn't think when that shot glass gets poured into their cup that person isn't willing. They know that's it. That's what the difference between like a secure attached person was like, oh, well, they gave me everything they got. I can't ask for anything more.
Right.
They already know it.
right.
They don't get
Yes.
upset and expect more.
Exactly. So how do you feel? I am not just so shallow and low that I'd be like, okay, I told you so. But how do we feel about that whole I'm not responsible for your feelings statement now in the context of the pint glasses? Because I think that helped me because I kind of got on your side a little bit and now I'm like, oh, damn, I do have to do me first.
If you hurt someone's feelings,
Oh, sure.
that's the only argument I've ever had. Is the only time you'd ever be responsible for someone's feelings is if you did something to harm them.
And so I felt, and so it was, I'm responsible for pumping you up because the rest of the world, you came to me with an empty glass. I haven't hurt your feelings, but you came to me with an empty glass and said, help. And I only got the 2 ounces. Then what?
Yeah. It's on me.
Yeah. That's the self-regulation stuff I'm talking about. Tricky. And so I like your front loading. I think the paragraph thing is very powerful because, how many times for me it is the dog walk where I have that paragraph in my head and I'm, usually able to shift gears a little bit. And like you said, decide, is this a priority? Is this something I want to go to the mat about with that spicy little shotty?
Yeah.
That sounded like shorty and shot glass ain't short. I double entendre there.
Nice.
Well, I think I learned stuff.
Yeah, this was
Thank
good.
you for giving a hoot and for teaching me stuff. Appreciate it.
Thank you for participating and being willing to have a very difficult and very vulnerable conversation. For the world.
For the world. It is. I am so grateful, Love Ninjas, to have you here with us. We want to learn with you. And so, all in the spirit of lasting change. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, I am JT. Thank you so much for listening.
And I'm Jordan. Until next time.
Be brave, beautiful friends.
If you enjoyed this conversation, it would mean the world to us if you had a second to share this episode or your favorite episode. If you haven't already, please subscribe or follow on the homepage at letsdigintothat.com or wherever you find your podcast. Thank you, Love Ninjas.
The impact of your support is greater than you could ever imagine. Thank you, thank you, thank you.